Hello overhands and distant lands, my name is Joseph Moore and today we are getting a little naughty. Okay, so my plan for this video is to show you my top 5 favorite knots. Number 5 is one of the simplest, but for that reason it's one of the best because it is the overhand knot. This knot is used in pretty much every single other knot and it's very good and a quick fix. So if you ever tied a knot before, you've tied your shoes or handled a rope, you probably know what an overhand knot is. You basically put one end of the rope, you put it over that one end, you form a loop and then you pull it through, and then this is the overhand knot. You could tie it tight, you could loosen it a bit. There's a bunch of variations on this. You can even kind of change stuff around. You could do another overhand loop and form a square knot, or if you go the other way, then you could form the granny knot. There we go. And that's a different knot. Now the interesting thing about, I'll start with this. The overhand knot is physically the simplest knot that you can make, period. It's only got 3 intersections in the entire knot, and that is the lowest amount that you can have. Here, I'll kind of show it to you. This would be one variation of the overhand knot. Let's untangle it. Suppose these two ends are tied together. There are 3 crossings right here, but notice one thing. All the crossings, they kind of go in the same direction from the middle, going clockwise. Each one is over the other one. There's another form of the knot where each crossing is under, going clockwise around. Okay, so this would be that knot I just described, the same kind of knot, the same overhand knot, but this time in the middle the intersections are going under the loop right here. It's the same thing on the underside. If you see under here, they're from the middle going clockwise, they're under on this side. And this demonstrates that, hey, these two knots are actually different knots, and what they're actually called is chiral forms. And chirality is a very interesting topic. They're basically mirror images, like your hands are mirror images. And they're actually named that convention. One form of the knot is called the right hand, another form of the knot is called the left hand. And chirality is a very important topic once you get into other fields such as biology or chemistry. And amino acids actually have 2 forms. There's the left hand form, which is this hand actually, makes the letter L. The left hand form, which is used in amino acids, in the right hand form, which will screw everything up if it gets in a protein, because they're different molecules, they're shaped differently, and the form affects how they work. Number 4 is the slip knot. This next knot is cool because it can be formed in the middle of the rope. Now, being that the case, that means it's not technically a knot because it's not really tied together. And as I said, this is the slip knot. What you do is you kind of make a loop like this, and then you put the end that's over, bring it through the loop. So it's kind of like you're forming an overhand knot, but instead of pulling this end through all the way, you're letting it hang there. And what's cool about this knot is that it slips. Boom. So you can end it like that. But there's also another cool thing you can do with this. You can continue it on. So you can form one slip knot, but then with the end that you're using, you could just kind of keep on stringing it through until you reach the end. And this is called the monkey chain. And it's useful, I guess, if you want to shorten the length of rope that you got. Now, here, I actually kind of pulled this through. This is how you stop it. But if you want, if this accidentally happens to you, what you do is you pull it through like this, and this should be able to pull through all the way now. And then it just becomes one single strand of rope. Sorry, I pulled it up over the camera, but as you can see, there's no knot in here anywhere. Number 2 is the sheet bend, which is used to connect two different kinds of rope together, just when they come at the end to kind of extend the length that you have. So this is a very sturdy knot for tying two pieces of rope together. Okay, say you need to have a longer piece of rope, but you only have two shorter pieces of rope. There's a way that you can tie these two pieces of rope together in a very stable manner. What you do is you kind of create a bend right here. You just kind of loop it over on itself. It's not even looped over, you're just kind of going the other way with that. And then what you do with another piece of rope is that you bring it under the loop. Then you wrap it around to form an overhand knot kind of around the loop that you just made with the other rope. So this is in an overhand knot, this is just in a loop. You pull them tight and they're not slipping. They are fastened together. In case you can't tell, I'm pulling them apart with a great amount of strength and they're not slipping. These two knots are quite stable. If you want to make sure that it's incredibly stable, you might want to make this tail right here just a little longer. I made it a little short on this example, but it's still working pretty well. It's not slipping at all, and I would trust this knot to I don't know, hold up laundry if I needed to. Have a longer line for that. So there's that. Now my most favorite knot of all time is the bowline knot, which is kind of like the sheet bend if two of the ends were to come together to form a loop. This is a very sturdy knot. It can be used in emergency situations, and it can also be tied with one hand. Okay, so right here I have a sheet bend, and the bowline knot is formed by basically taking this end and connecting it right here. This is, if these two pieces were one string, this would be the bowline knot, and since they're different pieces of rope, wouldn't actually connect too well together, but I'll demonstrate with one. And you basically form a loop right here, and then you take this end and you twist it. Make sure that the end from the loop is above. You send the end that ends kind of through the hole, around the tree, and back down. That's how I remember it. And then you pull. This is the bowline knot. It's a very stable knot. It's not going to slip on you anyway. It's good for just tying a loop, and whenever loop that doesn't split and you have the end of the line available, this is a good knot to use. Now there's a very interesting way to tie this knot, and I discussed it in the beginning. You can tie it with one hand, so just come with me and I'll show you that. Alright, let's imagine for a second that you're dangling from the top of the tree and you don't have one of your arms handy, but luckily you have a rope that you tied to the tree just in case you fell off and you were in this exact sort of situation. Now what you do right here is you need to make sure that the rope goes behind you. One thing you can do is just kind of swing over it right now, or just kind of step over the rope. If you're, well, stepping over isn't the right situation because you're dangling in a tree, but it needs to go behind you, and the rope right here that's dangling, that's attached to the top, needs to be taut. Now what you do is you take this rope, you cross it over, and you form a loop right here so that your wrist should be caught in a loop, and then the leading end that you're holding onto should be going around. Now you need to pass this loop around to yourself across the top of it, and then you pull your wrist back through the bottom, and then you should be secure and able to dangle from the top of the tree without dying. So now you're not dead, and this rope saved your life. Thank you for watching. That's all the time for today. Bye.